wants to punch their screen. Emma Vigeland is on BSDNC discussing centrist Democrats in third way to organize to decrease influence of the far left. So Emma Vigeland. Oh yeah, that's what's gonna bring in voters. That's what's gonna bring in the progressives back. Emma Vigeland and her big brain tactics.
Last month, Third Way, this group organized a gathering for Democrats to see kind of what lessons they learned from the previous election. Politico actually obtained, we're going to put this up on the screen, Politico obtained the 5-page document of proposed solutions to win back working class voters. And it included several references to reducing influence from the far left and actually trying to stay where they were. Absolutely no lesson learned from the past election. And I get your point. Yes, you can argue that Donald Trump does not have a wide mandate, that this was a kind of razor thin margin of victory. But again, still losing the House, losing the Senate and the presidency, and not taking away any lessons for the Democrats about their policies.
Absolutely. I mean, firstly, I do think that a lot of blame falls on Joe Biden for running for re-election again and his inability to.
Oh, God. Oh, God. My God. I forgot how much of her 2 cents ain't worth nothing.
And not taking away any lessons for the Democrats about their policies.
Absolutely. I mean, firstly, I do think that a lot of blame falls on Joe Biden for running for re-election again and his inability to really kind of communicate with the public what he was even doing, the positive stuff with antitrust and Lena Khan and going after corporate price gougers, the CHIPS Act. I mean, frankly, he was just too diminished to really make the case, and he wasn't very vocal in public for people to hear what Democrats were actually doing. But I do think it's more than that. I do think that the perception of what the center is completely misaligned with the median voter. I mean, it's you just need to listen to a podcast and hear like, oh, I support Medicare for all, and this podcast host says, but also I have this right-wing view about guns or something like that. That's really more of what the median voter is. And
Emma, stop projecting. All right, now look. First of all. I mean, I doubt majority reports are one to be talking because they were going to bat for the Democrats so much carrying that water, because I got some wonderful things in which they are dismissing progressives and independents, dismissing everything. See, what the thing is, what's being directed here is a centrist perspective, trying to say that centrists are Medicare for all people and people want to own guns. That's not how it works.
Oh, I support Medicare for all, and this podcast host says, but also I have this right-wing view about guns or something like that. That's really more of what the median voter is. And Tim Walz is doing the exact right thing here, talking about universal health care. We saw how the public responded to the killing of the United Healthcare CEO. There's a lot of rage and pain in.
What about for forced to vote? Remember that? March for Medicare for all? Remember that? Oh, no, probably not.
This country right now. We just hit a record in terms of credit card debt. There is a cost of living crisis that traditional economic metrics aren't necessarily picking up on. Housing is overly commodified. Rent is through the roof. Yep. People are really hurting. And if we don't respond to that as a party, I mean, leaving that to the Republicans who just want to deregulate and make your life much worse and enrich people, that's just complete political malpractice.
Pro-labor president in history.
Yes, exactly. And yet somehow he could not.
Pro-labor, Joe Biden. Here, hold on. Let's go back in time to October 10th, 2024. Shot the big mad crab. Pro-labor president Joe Biden. I didn't get that memo. Did any of you?
So there is absolutely no evidence. And in fact, it's contrary to all of the experience of the past 60, 70 years that the Democratic Party is the most effective roadblock. No, they're both roadblocks, but one is just bigger and more robust, and we have less power to dismantle it. And that is the Republican Party.
Yeah. I just get impatient with this. Like, I mean, time to deal with reality. I don't understand. Like we're in a truncated period of time where the election is the conversation, but after election day, we'll be back to work talking about things in a more robust manner about what's possible and how, if Harris gets elected, she can be pushed, how we can.
Once Harris gets elected, You guys are going to bat for Kamala Harris, who ran a terrible campaign. She didn't even have policies on a campaign website. How many times I got to repeat myself?
Push a more progressive agenda with the squad, with other unions, with organizing outside of the situation. But right now, the task at hand is that we have two choices for president. And one of them is terrifying, at least to me, and should be to a lot of people, in the sense that he now has J.D. Vance and Peter Thiel and all these ghouls behind him. He's more emboldened to be anti-democratic. Some of the stuff he's talking about are essentially pogroms. Harris has a lot of problems, but at least she's not freaking Biden.
Oh, no. Yeah, she's got a lot of problems. She's worse than Biden. How is it that her campaign website didn't have policies? How is it that she's failed at every single interview? How is it that the Democrats wasted all that time, effort, and energy first to promote Biden, who was senile and his brain wasn't working, and then you have Kamala Harris, who is the lowest approved vice president in U.S. history. Her approval numbers were lower than Biden, and Biden's brain wasn't working. Kamala Harris, who didn't earn a vote, but was crowned as the DNC nominee here in Chicago. I know. I have witnesses. All of you saw it. Everybody protesting in Chicago saw it. Jimmy Dore saw it. Russell from Due Dissidence saw it. We had Nick and Rome from RBN here. Myself and Daniel were at the DNC convention. For Christ's sakes, Pasta and Matt Weinglass were here as well. Everybody saw it. Everybody was talking about it. And now what? Like, you're going to sit there and pontificate in this recent interview on BSDNC about how Democrats can regain their voters? They're never going to do that.
And that's the reality of the situation. So deal with it or don't. Like, if you don't want to deal with electoral politics, don't deal with electoral politics. But if you want to deal with electoral politics, then engage in the reality of the two choices that we have. And that's it. Like, I have respect for people that have that don't care about electoral politics and just want to focus on organizing. That's fine. That's fine. But then if you want to talk about electoral politics, engage in the fucking reality. It's so enraging.
Emma, language.
To hear this kind of stuff all the time.
Language. But here's the thing. When it comes down to politics, I mean, I remember when they argued with somebody about Kamala and Gaza.
But when I look at Trump and I look at Harris, one of them is going to be president. That's just simply a fact. Jill Stein has no better chance of being president than I do. And someone can say, well, if you guys supported Jill Stein, other people might. Well, if people supported me too, I might be president. I mean, it's just not going to happen. And so the point is that, is there a 1% chance that Harris is better than Trump on Israel? And if I'm going to vote, that's what I'm going to use my vote for. Is one vote ain't going to make a damn ass difference, but teeny, tiny. But it's going to, it's the exercise of one arrow that you have in your quiver of political power, and that's what a vote is. Mm-hmm. It's a hammer.
I think all that's granted. Everything about the Green Party, everything you said about voting, like, I think I get all that. But what I'm maybe not feeling as a Palestinian American is permeating kind of through all the rhetoric right now is just sort of like the mood. I don't know, maybe you described it as the emotion, but the mood and like what that mood sets for like the future. I mean, it's hard, right? It's not easy. But when Kamala Harris gets asked in an interview, like will you change from Biden's policy on Gaza? And it's like I think she just said no. I don't want to read into that too much, but she's seeing like a Trump, yard sign on someone's yard back in like 2016 or whatever when he was talking about banning Muslims, like the emotion and the mood that evoked from her, saying like, oh, this person supporting someone who like literally hates me to my guts. Like, I'm telling you, Sam, and everyone else, like as we drive through our streets in New Hampshire and see Harris small signs, like that's the same, like it's that same sort of like disconnect there. Like this politician in no way can represent me. And I guess what concerns me is Jill Stein is Jill Stein, but the reason Jill Stein is sort of anything right now is because mainly the position she's taking on Palestine and probably attracted.
I mean, she had the same. Listen, she's going to do the same numbers as she did in 2016.
Yes, but maybe instead of just dismissing third parties and independents, I don't know, maybe we actually fight for a better future. Wouldn't that be a controversial thing? Wouldn't that be an interesting sight to see? Wouldn't that be a sight for all of us to speak about and talk about? Not this third way or centrist Democrat BS. This is what I'm talking about. It's in full on free fall. The Democrats don't have a plan. Anybody that carried water for the Democrats is realizing that nobody's buying their BS. I mean, it's a sinking ship. Do you have something? Do you have anything tangible? Because there's a reason why that the great coalition of 2016 and 2020 did not form up, did not answer the call in 2024, because it was made abundantly clear that our voices never mattered in the Democrat Party.